Hey, it's your girl Felicia. I'm here with the Gifted Gab. We chatted all things dance, mental health, the NBA boycott. Stay tuned for this episode.
You said what? You were literally what?
I've been begging you to come on
You're
this
here
show.
now though, shit.
Yeah, like 6 months later, maybe even more than that.
Better late than never though, right?
I guess.
Can't complain, shit. So, it's good to have you on again, obviously. Not again, but for the first time, obviously. How you feeling?
Great.
You
How
good?
are you?
I'm doing good. Lots going on that I want to discuss with you. But before we get into that, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Felicia. I'm a mental health counselor. I work for Peel Children's Center. I'm also a dancer. I don't really pursue that as much anymore, although I just have been dancing a lot the last little while. Yeah.
So you said you're a mental health counselor.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because we're in a time now where mental health is seriously being, highlighted, because it's a serious issue. So, talk about your work with that a little bit and how you affect that.
So I just had a pretty big career change, so I'll speak to what I was doing before that. So I was working with teenage boys who have been found guilty of sexual assault. And in doing that, I was just supporting them really with their day-to-day treatment, help implement their treatment, that type of thing. I just transitioned to working more so in a school-based program that works with youth who have dual diagnoses.
Well, what is that? Talk a little bit about that.
So, the most typical case is someone that has depression and anxiety. So they have two concurrent disorders going on for them. Yeah.
So, anxiety and depression, I think a lot of us can relate to that. Is there like different levels to that? Is it a black and white thing? Like how do you go about that? How do you analyze it and treat those type of disorders when you're working in that field?
So it's definitely not black and white. Looks very different for everyone, especially for youth growing up in this day and age. There's so many different things going on for them that can kind of affect that. I don't know how to break it down in terms of how you assess that. There's different tools that can be used to assess that.
There's different ways. Okay. So what's your role in all this?
So my role is I counsel them.
Okay.
So right now in my classroom-based program, I work with them to make sure that they're just like feeling good about going to school. The classroom's really small. There's only 3 to 4 clients.
Well, that's good now, especially because of COVID. Shit, you want to social distance, but
it's great for that, for sure. But just doing check-ins with them. A typical day would look like checking in with them in the morning, checking in with them throughout the day, supporting them, running groups with them, whether that be mindful-based groups or cognitive behavioral-based groups, which is typically what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I just wanted to touch upon that because I know a lot of us are dealing with mental health and it's super serious. So that's good that you're doing that. Along with in the mental health industry, you are also within the dance industry.
Yes.
One look at your Instagram page, you see a lot of that. You were just showing me your TikToks early before that. What got you into dance in the first place? Let's just start there.
I was forced into it for sure. I
was
was 3 years old when I started dancing.
Said 3. You're performing then?
Yeah.
What, Christmas parties and shit like that?
Not even Christmas parties. Like I was in classes learning how to dance when I was 3.
So it runs in the family then?
Not even.
What?
I think my parents were just like, she's a girl.
Just
she's gonna dance.
Just slap her and dance.
Yeah. Throw her in
Not
there.
even ballet, just straight dance.
Just straight. Like I took ballet.
Okay.
But I took ballet, tap, jazz,
all
afro,
Damn.
lyrical, all of that. Yeah.
It's better than a lot of guys I know. Shit. That's crazy though. Okay, so you kind of just got thrown into it, and from then you grew a love for it, or like how did that come about?
Yeah, like it. With anything, I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure with basketball, but with dance, once you're in it so young, it just becomes a part of your life.
Yeah.
So you don't know any different. And when I was getting older, it just was natural for me to gravitate towards dance. I wasn't going to pick up a new hobby midway through high school.
No.
And it turned into a career because I partially felt a lot of anxiety around what I was going to do for university. And so felt like dance was something I was comfortable with and what I knew, and I had connections in dance that I could pursue dance as a career.
Yeah.
So I ended up dancing.
I guess it's a great way to express yourself as well too. Like a lot of us, I think this. I had a theory, but like this is how I feel about it. It's like art in general. Everyone needs a way to express themselves with art. You know, right now I'm having a podcast with you. I mean, this is in a sense art. You have dance. Other people paint, music, like, you know what I'm saying? Everyone has some form of art. Photography, for instance. You know, my guy Kevin shooting right here. Shout out to KLTD, best photographer in the city. But nah, like everyone has that type of. Everyone needs that type of outlet. You know, so it's kind of cool to see you and having dance as that outlet for you. I mean, talk a little bit more about how. Like, what have you done in dance specifically? Like your type of your progress that you've made and what you kind of achieved in dance? Because I don't think a lot of people know about that.
I've achieved several things, I guess. I don't want
to. I'm all ears.
I don't want to.
No flex. No, silent flex. It's all good. Let it out, man.
But I moved to LA when I was 17, so you can imagine
by yourself
comes with that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What made you do that? Shit, just because dance?
Yeah.
That's a risk right there. Like that's how do you feel? Shit.
It was hard because I moved there without a visa. So at first, all of my dance jobs had to do with me either asking them for a visa or getting a visa recommendation letter. So I never got paid. Like for 90% of the work I was doing in LA, I wasn't being paid for it.
Man.
I was getting letters so that I could get a visa. But yeah, I moved out there, so obviously was exposed to a lot of different jobs, working with different artists, that type of thing. Yeah. And yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That's because like that's a huge risk, man. I can't imagine at 17 moving to LA. That's
huge. I don't know why my mom let me do that.
Did you ask like you asked her what she said? She's like, yeah, you're good.
She really felt like in her own life, her parents didn't, I guess, let her expand her wings the way she wanted them to. Yeah. So she felt that I would hold it against her if she didn't let me kind of go and do what I wanted. But also she knew that I would be always wondering what would happen if I didn't. Yeah, that
what if can really kill you. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I'm glad to hear that, honestly. Yeah. I mean, knowing that your parents put you in dance at the age of 3, I'm not surprised she'd let you to go to LA at 17. So that makes a lot of sense. What recent projects have you been up to? More recently, I guess.
I kind of was taking a break from dance. So other than TikToking in my basement during COVID, wasn't doing much. This girl's
the same girl that told me get on TikTok. I said, no, ma'am. Miss me with that, please and thank you. I'm not trying to do the dances. I'm sorry. It's just not me.
The TikTok people would love
you. Think so?
For sure. They're all about the athletes right now.
I have to sleep on that. That's funny, yo.
But more recently, and I guess a really exciting project I got to be a part of was I just filmed a music video for this artist named Toby on Sunday, which had like a huge dance component, which is rare to see.
In music videos specifically, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like just artists, especially artists in the city. I don't think that they value dance the way that other artists do. It's more so, especially when it comes to rap, about like money and drugs. Yeah, and money, drugs, sex. Like, you know? Yeah. But yeah, so that was super fun. And before that, a project that I was really inspired by that I worked on was I got to choreograph for Sean Leon. Wow. I did this music video that he used a drag queen as the focus and the main, which was incredible. Again, for a rapper in the city to do something like that. That's different. Huge. That's different. So yeah, I got to choreograph that, and that was probably one of my favorite projects ever to do. Yo,
because this is the thing. I've always been wondering, how do you start off choreographing shit? Like, what's the first thing that you like? What are the steps to choreographing a choreograph? I don't know how that makes sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, what's the like? Choreo. You got to do this move first and second. Like, how do you even think of that? Like,
I mean, it just happens.
It just happens. Shut the hell up, man. It just happens. Does it just come like you're just thinking of it, or like how does it?
Yeah, it's like, how do you make a play in basketball? It just happens.
That's true. It's instinct. Yeah, it's instinct.
But usually, especially when it comes to artist work, the artist tells you what they want, or they just give you an idea of what their vision is, and you roll with it.
They kind of give you
music on, and that's it.
They kind of give you like a framework, and then you kind of follow it, or it's more freelance type.
I mean, with the 90 BPM video that I did for Sean Leon, that was very much so. Here's the song, this is what the vibe is, and I just went into the studio and listened to it and the movement just came naturally.
Yeah.
It sounds super cheesy, but it just
That's no, I rate that. Are there any times where you're getting flown out to these gigs, or is it all locally based?
yeah. I mean, not right now because of COVID.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But there have been times where I've definitely left the city for these types of jobs. Yeah.
Geez. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, off camera, we talk a little bit about flying out for your jobs and whatnot. And for those of who
Dance
don't know,
jobs,
man,
just
dance
to
jobs,
clarify,
yeah,
dance
dance. Obviously, come on, obviously for these dance jobs, that must be tough, especially if you trying to figure out the right way to word this, because you know where I'm trying to get at right now.
Yeah.
Let me just get straight to it. You told me that you were in a relationship before, or an entanglement. I'll call it that.
Yep.
And you got flown out to, where was it? You can continue the
Texas.
story.
I went to Texas.
Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
You can keep going.
Okay. So I went to Texas.
Floor is yours.
I went to Texas and that was less of a dance job, more so just supporting an artist that I really believed in and
That's awesome.
had previously been.
You could take the mic too as well if you want to
Okay,
move it.
true. Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
That changes things.
No worries. Yeah, you don't
All
have to. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this artist that I really believed in and really supported and had developed a really close relationship with, and so ended up going out to Texas because he was performing in a music festival out there. But I was also in an entanglement at the time, and
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I'm sure now looking back, my
Yeah.
entanglement definitely didn't love that. But
Yeah. Is it possible? I've always wondered. Do you think it's possible for an entanglement to be a real thing after, or would an entanglement just stay an entanglement and just kind of disappear?
See, I've been kind of tossing with that thought lately. I don't know. I think an entanglement
It's just-
has to just be an
just be an
entanglement.
entanglement. It is what it
because
is.
once you get into a relationship, there's baggage that comes from the entanglement.
That's facts.
That you can't really work.
That's
through,
big facts. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It's a lot to work with. I think we
Yeah.
all got baggage and shit, but yeah, no, that's crazy. Honestly, this is all stemming from dance itself. You've been getting these gigs, you've been traveling and whatnot, but obviously right now you're working in the mental health profession, so you kind of have a balance of both art and science. I kind of levels you out, I guess, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
What do you like better?
Honestly, I love mental health, and I realized that I loved mental health more than dance while I was living in LA.
Yeah.
And even when I came back, I started going to school. Didn't really know what I was doing with school at the time, but I just found a huge passion for it. And
Yeah.
I find that it fulfills me a lot more than dance does. I'll always love dance. I'll always want to dance. But in terms of what fulfills me more, definitely mental health.
Is it kind of because you're giving back in a sense, and you're seeing the not the reward in a sense, because it's not about rewarding you, but it's about the difference that you're making as opposed to dance, where it's kind of just you expressing yourself through art? Is that it, or?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can see change within others when you're dancing as well, or you can inspire people through dance, which happens quite often. But in terms of seeing someone else grow and seeing someone else develop, that's where mental health kind of like takes the cake for me.
What are your biggest challenges with mental health and dealing with people that suffer from that?
My biggest challenge would be leaving it at work,
Yeah.
leaving work at work and
It's kind
keeping
of
home
separated.
separate.
Yeah.
Just because it can be a lot, especially when you get very close to, there's obviously boundaries and all that,
For sure.
those types of things. But when I was working with the boys that had been found guilty of sexual assault, that program was very intense in that I was working with them in their living setting. So it was
Yeah.
a treatment facility, but you're with them when they're eating food, when
Yeah.
they're going on a walk. Like you can't
Do everything,
you can't
yeah.
leave them. So you develop a very different type of relationship with
Yeah.
them. And so leaving that at work, or even seeing them go on to different programs or being discharged from the programs, that can be hard, but it's something that you just learn, I guess. But I'm still learning. I've only been in the field for like 6 years, so I'm still learning.
Only
how-
6 years? What do you mean only
I was-
6 years? Stop. That's a lot. That's a long time. That's
I guess.
That's a lot of footwork you're putting in. Shout out to you though on that. I've always wondered about mental health because I find that it's not a yes or no thing, or it's not a black and white thing, because people suffer from it. You might have good days, you might have bad days, but it's never like, okay, I'm not depressed now, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's reoccurrences and stuff like that. Do you see that happening in your field or not? Or like,
Of course, I see that happening most definitely
Yeah.
all the time. It's something that kind of flows in and out of your life.
Mm.
Even personally, I know that mental health flows in and out of my life, and so just understanding that and being patient with it and gentle with yourself in terms of how that is a process. It's a process.
For sure.
That's what
for
it
sure.
is. Yeah.
For sure. Do you have any tips for people that are going through that or dealing with that?
I mean, I could sit here all day and give you,
Yes, you can take
different
your time.
interventions
You
and
have a
treatment
look.
strategies.
Nah, like-
But
Oh man.
I think my biggest suggestion to people or advice would be just being gentle with yourself. That's really it. I know from my own mental health stuff, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression and whatnot a few years back, and I was not kind to myself. I was
Yeah.
like, I need to be good, and I need to be good now.
Yeah, facts.
And a lot of people feel that way, or the pressure from even their parents or the people around them, like, hey, wake up and just like think about good thoughts, and then everything
Yeah,
will
be
be
positive.
okay. Be
Positivity.
positive.
Like, yo, I hate
Right?
that. Come on, bro.
No, that helps for sure, and being in a positive mindset is great, but when you're depressed, it's hard to get into that positive mindset. So just be kind and
Okay.
gentle and patient.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Felicia's facts. I like that. Shit. All right. Perfect, man. I kind of wanted to just flip the script a little bit like right now. We were talking about traveling for a bit. Obviously, none of us are traveling during quarantine. You know, we're all stuck at home and whatnot. But one thing that I kind of wanted to get into. Actually, this has nothing to do with traveling. I don't even know why I brought that up, for instance.
I mean, I did travel during COVID.
No. Wow.
I didn't go out of the country, but I
Holy
definitely
smokes.
traveled.
This girl said you traveled. Where are you traveling to?
I went to Manitoba.
This girl said Manitoba. You quarantined 14 days?
Yeah.
Yo, you got a mask with her, bro? Yo,
This
that's
was like-
crazy.
I went
That's
the
what we're doing
1st of
now?
July.
Oh, okay,
but I
it's a
also
while
got
ago.
COVID tested.
You got COVID
I
tested?
got tested before I left
Yeah.
because at the time Manitoba didn't have any cases, and I was like, I'm not going to be the jerk that brings COVID to Manitoba.
Oh man, you be
That
on
would be
front. You be on
embarrassing.
front page newspapers
Right?
everywhere. Shit.
And so, and then when I came back, we were talking about starting back up at work, and I didn't want to be the jerk that brings it to work.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I got tested both
Yeah.
before and after.
What type of test you get?
The one that goes up your nose.
Oh,
Yeah.
how'd you feel about it?
Well, I had been tested even before that because I was in LA right when COVID happened.
Oh my
And so I
gosh.
had to get tested when I came back. I hated it.
That shit is
It was
crazy,
the
right?
worst.
You guys got it too or not? You guys got tested? Bro.
Have you been tested?
I got tested one time,
it's-
like-
it's the
It's crazy,
worst.
yeah.
It feels like they're tickling your brain and
Bro.
like not even in a good way.
I still like feel that, like if I think
Yes.
about it, I can feel that
Yeah.
sensation right now. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you feel this like abused. I don't know how
Yeah,
to call it,
it's-
but you feel
No.
like
It's super invasive.
miss me with that.
It's super invasive.
No, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
Did you get it done during the drive-through?
Yeah, I got
phase?
drive-through, yeah, yeah.
That's the worst because the first one I had was at the hospital.
Yeah.
And I kind of just like fell back onto the bed as she was doing it.
Okay.
So it took some of the pressure off, but when I got it at the drive-through, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah, because what they do, they have that Q-tip and they stick it off you like I'm like, bro, relax, fam. Like, I'm pretty sure you're getting enough right there. You don't have to
Right.
stick it off. I'm like, yo, this hurts, bro.
And then they're swirling it around.
They're swirling it around. They're trying to like get every like hair, everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, you could have just used it. Come on, bro.
I know.
This is too much. But yeah, no, it's tough because I don't know how I feel about this whole COVID thing, man.
I don't know how I feel about this whole COVID either.
I don't know. Like, shit. Is it gonna be over soon? Are we gonna have a second wave? People have been talking about the second wave for 2 months now.
I know.
You
Even
know?
my mom the other day, she's like, "We're having a second wave, so I hope you're ready for it." I'm
Please.
like, I would say that.
Please, yeah, no, you can't wish that things.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you can't wish that things. COVID has been affecting a lot of things though, and more recently the NBA.
Yes.
That's something that I wanted to bring you on and talk about because obviously they have the bubble. They've been there for 2 months,
Yeah.
and now you're seeing more recently. What's the date today? Thursday,
the 27th.
August 27th. Yeah, so just recently, the past few days, teams like the Raptors. Who else? Well, the Raptors started it. Honestly, you could kind of say that.
The boycott.
The boycott, basically,
Milwaukee
for games.
started it.
Please, it's cap. Are
Milwaukee-
you crazy?
No, Milwaukee
the Raptors
started it.
That's cap, bro.
Are we gonna have an argument?
We can
right
have an
now?
argument right now,
Milwaukee
man.
definitely
I want all the
started
smoke.
it.
Are you kidding me?
Okay.
That's cap. Raptors started a lot of shit, including
Huge
that.
Raptors fan. Love the Raptors, but
That's
Milwaukee
crazy.
definitely
You
started
don't rate
it.
the Raptors, I can tell.
They were the first to sit out.
Really?
Like, yes. Okay, the first to say they were
The first to say
sitting
they
out.
sit out, okay. And now you hear like the Clippers and the Lakers. They said they're not even trying to trying to go. But like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like this boycott makes sense? Do you think it doesn't? Is it reasonable?
We kind of touched on it before offline, but I agreed with you in saying that I think that they should have not even started the season back up. Because there was a lot going on even before everything that just took place more recently. And so in total, I don't even know if that's the right phrase to use, but overall, I don't think they should have started back up. I understand it's people's like livelihoods and jobs, but I think as a what would they be called? Like the NFL, NBA, what's that? Not a collective.
The Players Association.
Yeah, they should have just made the decision to not go back. It should have just been as easy as that, so that you don't have to single out individual players or individual teams and make it a political thing. Because now you've got teams that are saying that they're going to sit out. Other teams that are like, well, now we have to sit out. And it makes them look bad. It should just been, overall, we're not going back. This is why we're boycotting.
I don't think it should have been started from the beginning. I know a lot of us were looking at Kyrie Irving like, yo, this guy's, you're an idiot. Like, you're psycho. Let's just get this shit started back up. But now everyone's like, okay, nah. He knew what was popping. He knew what was up. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought it just should have been cut from the beginning. My issue with this now, I understand the boycott, but I kind of look at it in the sense where you have 2 months of these guys sacrificing their time away from families, from the people they love, kind of all to be thrown down the drain in a sense.
Yep.
I get the boycott. I get why we're not trying to play. I get why we're trying to kind of take away entertainment from those that enjoy the NBA. One of my closest friends, Tramel, I had him on an episode last for this 1K Convo. He said this best. He's like, the audience that needs to hit is not watching the NBA.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So what's the kind of the purpose of it?
Yep.
Obviously there are some benefits to boycotting, but for me, I was on the fence about it. I'll be honest. I'm like, is this the right way to go about it? You know? So,
I mean, while we're on this topic, I think that the NHL is definitely not doing enough.
Yeah.
And
clearly,
I'm not even a black man, and I was disrespected by the fact that they took a moment last night. Like, you're taking a moment?
Doesn't make sense.
Like, boycott your game.
Bro, hold that moment.
Those are the people that need to be affected by this boycott, you know? And so, yeah.
Facts.
If every other sports group can do it, they can too.
Facts. No, big. That's big facts right there.
Yeah.
There's politics and everything though.
For sure.
It's just with sports, dance that you can talk about. I mean, this is like kind of completely switching the topic a bit, but I wanted to touch upon it earlier. Dance and the industry that you dealt with is very political, as you've been saying. What are some of the challenges that you kind of dealt with in that? Like, is it a progressive industry? Is there, because I'm looking on from the outside in, I look at it as like a pretty entertaining thing. It's cool to do. I could join a class right now and learn some things. But how do you feel about that, looking at it from the inside?
I mean, I'm trying to think of where to start in terms of how I feel about it.
You got time today.
When I was 17 and I was living in LA, I kind of just got thrown into the industry. So I was seeing everything really fast, really young. But it felt very stagnant to me. It felt like even if you were the best dancer on the planet, if you didn't have the right connections, you weren't going anywhere.
Wow.
And even when you did have the right connections and you were doing dance jobs, it felt very flat for me. It didn't feel like I could really progress, or like, once you're the greatest, like, then what, you know? And so it felt like there was a pretty big cap on dance.
The ceiling, yeah.
And the industry itself is very political. It's all about who you know, not about how good you are or how hard you're working, which was really discouraging. Yeah. Especially when you're 17, you're like, okay, like, I'm super eager and I want to learn and I want to, you know, I had great connections, and I can recognize now most of the dance jobs I did were only based on my connections. It had nothing.
You think so?
I know so.
Wow.
That's
amazing. That's amazing.
I was looking back and watching a video from a really big gig I did in LA. I was like, man, I sucked. Like, I was an awful dancer. I was so bad.
Yeah.
But you hired me because we were friends, or because you knew someone that I knew. And that's just, that is how the industry is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's literally the power of networking. But
Power of networking.
do you think it's a bad thing or a good thing?
I think it's a bad thing.
You think it's a bad thing?
I think it's
Why?
a bad thing because you're never, if you don't have your friends calling you out or like not booking you for shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
No, I've been swearing on this
okay.
episode. Yeah. I just haven't been swearing this
stuff.
episode. Yeah.
Then you're never going to grow.
Yeah.
As a dancer, but as a person
That's
in
facts.
general.
Big
And
facts.
so it was very much so just, yeah, there's no growth.
It was stagnant.
There's no
since-
growth. At least I felt there was not as much growth that
Yeah.
could be done as there is in other industries. Yeah.
Do you feel like at the position you're in right now that there is still room for growth, or you kind of hit that place where it's like, okay, I enjoy this right now. Let me just have
In terms
this.
of dance?
In terms of dance, yeah.
I'm sure if I were to go and learn a different style, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about lyrical anymore. I don't know anything about contemporary
Okay.
contemporary anymore, and so I could definitely grow in those styles. But in terms of networking and again, yeah.
What
But
style? So what style do you do now?
I mostly do hip hop. I
Okay.
guess I would call it.
Isn't that what sells now though? Like a lot of music videos do that, or am I just in a
We'd be here for
Echo.
hours if I broke down how wrong it is for me to even use the term hip hop. Because
Really?
it's like, I'd say commercial hip hop.
okay?
It's what people think is hip hop,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's not. Hip hop is like breakdancing, pop.
Give me some examples of what people may think of hip hop.
When people think hip hop, they think like those TikTok dances
Ah,
or
please,
movements to
please,
hip
come on,
hop
bro.
music, which is not hip hop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't even call it hip hop.
You just call that just pop, or
No, I'd call it commercial dance.
commercial dance. All right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's crazy, but that's what sells in this day and age. You have a lot of, I mean, TikTok's part of that to blame too. I I never really TikTok never really grew on me, I'll be honest. So when you told me like, yeah, download this, download that, I'm like, you just stay away from
I'm
the
just
freaking.
looking out for you
looking out
and
for
your
me?
social media following.
You know what's
That's
crazy
it.
is one of our members on the Gifted Gab. They said, "Yo, listen, you should get on that." I'm like, man. Me and Alex were like, "Yo, I don't know how we feel about this, man. I don't know," because there's been some controversies with TikTok and like, there some racial tendencies that they had before, and
Yes.
that kind of deterred me away from even
For sure.
really growing on that platform. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm on the fence still about that, literally.
We'll be filming a TikTok after this
Please,
for y'all.
please. Oh man, I've been saying I'm on the fence for a lot of shit, but yeah, that's one of them for sure. I said I'll be filming TikTok. What are you trying to film?
I mean, I don't know. There's a few that I have in mind.
No, Felicia. Leave
Less-
that at
They're
home.
not like dance related. So
No.
you wouldn't have to dance.
I was gonna say dance. What are you gonna do then?
I'll show you.
I've seen some that are like, they take segments from like different things and they'll just post it. Like not everything's dance related, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite one right now is there's this white kid who films. It's like him in a car
Yeah.
at the steering wheel with a hat on, and then him in the same car in the passenger seat with a towel so it looks like
Oh, it's
hair.
okay.
It's like me and my girlfriend in the car, and it's them going off to rap music. Oh, it's so funny because I'm like, that's for sure me. That's me. But it's hilarious.
That's you, definitely.
Yeah, that's
100%.
definitely-
100%. I've known you for about a year and a bit, and I clearly
That's
can tell
for
that's
sure
you.
me.
Oh shit! All right. So before we wrap this up, what can some of your followers look for you and the projects that that you have upcoming? Is there anything that you are looking forward to yourself? Like,
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I have a few different things that I'm kind of looking forward to right now. One of them being, I actually can't even really talk much about it.
Okay,
but
yeah. You can
it
keep some
just,
discussion.
I'm getting more into community work
Okay.
and community-based projects. That's more related to mental health and also music and art, and bringing that into places that are kind of dark and don't necessarily have the resources for that. So that's something that I'll
Awesome.
be working on in the next little bit.
Awesome. I like that. Like I've been saying this before, but I'm gonna reiterate it again. During a time like COVID, now a lot of us are suffering from these mental issues. So to see you doing that work is I got to give you your props for that. So appreciate you on that.
Appreciate
So, but on that note, any final words or no?
No.
You good? Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, appreciate you guys tuning in. Andre here, Felicia here. We're signing out.